some of you are rare in your community, right? You're like, you stick out like a sore thumb. You don't really fit in. You're a little different. And although I know I was born in America, I haven't had an American experience so much, you know. I haven't had a full American experience. I have been around Caribbean people and African born people the majority of my life. I have a very unique story, a very unique life. And I don't like trying to fit in. I never like trying to fit in.
I'll ask you a few questions, and you've been from Chicago and traveled all over telling stories. We'd like to know what makes a good storyteller.
Honesty. I think that's the number one thing in storytelling. The storyteller has to be who he or she is, and has to tell in a style that reflects who they are and their own experience. If you try to emulate someone else to the point of becoming someone else or telling someone else's story in his or her words or his or her mannerisms, I think an audience can tell that you're not being honest. I think that's the most important thing. There's a triangle. There's the storyteller, the story, and the audience. And all three must be in sync. But without honesty, nothing works.
Did you hear that? What happened here was I was in the car and I forgot I had a YouTube video playing in the background of interviews of members from National Association of Black Storytellers. And so when I got in the car, it just started playing, but I thought it was just going to stop playing. So it was playing in the background, and as they were interviewing this sister, I said, wow, this sounds like what was in my spirit. She answered the question that was in my spirit, and I just want to share it with you.
Hi, I'm Linda Gorham, and I am a storyteller. I live in Aurora, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago.
Okay, hi Linda. Well, we're here. We're at the National Association of Black Storytellers Conference, and we would like to ask you a few questions. And you being from Chicago and traveled all over telling stories, we'd like to know what makes a good storyteller.
Honesty. I think that's the number one thing in storytelling. The storyteller has to be who he or she is, and has to tell in a style that reflects who they are and their own experience. If you try to emulate someone else to the point of becoming someone else or telling someone else's story in his or her words or his or her mannerisms, I think an audience can tell that you're not being honest. I think that's the most important thing. There's a triangle. There's the storyteller, the story, and the audience. And all three must be in sync. But without honesty, nothing works.
Oh my word. I was just here thinking, I'm saying, oh my God, you know, if I, one of the biggest, oh God. So here I am realizing, okay, there's a storyteller in me, because that, you know, just wants to use my voice, right? There's some ancestors that want to use my voice. So I found storytelling groups in America that a lot of them are rooted in Southern upbringing. Now, my grandmother is Southern. My grandfather is Southern on both sides of my family. But I never had a Southern experience in America. I've always had a Caribbean, African-rooted upbringing. I have walked that walk more than I have walked a typical American walk. And I have always sought out my tribe. And that's something I cannot shake and I cannot pretend. So here I am thinking about how do I do this thing? I want to be a part of a storytelling group. But these people are not going to understand me. So it's going to be all these questions of, where are you from? And it's no matter where you go, it's that, where are you from? What are my experiences? It's not even about where am I from. It's about, what are my experiences? And those experiences, I felt they all belong to me. Whoever you are, be yourself. Stop trying to imitate. You're not going to feel right. You cannot try to be someone else other than who you are. Stop it, because people can tell when you're not being your true self.